What is midlife? What age is it? We're going to answer that and more right here on Midlife in a Minute. Hey, welcome back to Midlife in a Minute. I'm the Midlife Guy, and in this series we're solving all problems around midlife, making the second half of your life your best ever. The question has been raised, what exactly is midlife? How do I know if I'm in midlife? Am I in midlife if I'm 30? Am I in midlife if I'm 60? Well, we're going to deal with that right here. So I guess in one instance, midlife depends on how long you expect to live. If you only expect to live till 30, then midlife is 15. But if you expect to live to 130, then midlife is sort of around 60, 65. With men, life expectancy in the Western world is around about 79 years of age. For women, it's about 86. So for most of us, we would probably expect to reach 80 for most of us. So 40 is generally considered to be the sort of the fulcrum of midlife, and the time when midlife realities start to really sink in. But midlife blues can hit at other times. So often from age 35 onwards, when you start to realize that you're closer to 40 than what you are to 30. And usually by the age of 60, we are sort of over the midlife blues period. We've had 15 to 20 years to come to terms with getting older and looking ahead. And we're also coming to the end of our working life. And so midlife is generally considered to be in that range between 35 to 60. I like to narrow it a little bit at the top end and suggest it's more like 35 to 55. But if you're 55 to 60 and you're experiencing midlife blues, that's certainly possible. However, even if you're not in those age range, you can still exhibit the symptoms of a midlife crisis and wonder, well, am I in a midlife crisis? That is because you can have the symptoms of a midlife crisis at other ages as well, because of what a midlife crisis actually is. It's a crisis of identity. And of course, you can have a crisis of identity at other ages as well. All right, so I want to deal with this issue of the word crisis, midlife crisis. Now, why are we using the term midlife crisis? Well, because it's the term which has made its way into popular vocabulary. It is the term that people were searching for in Google. It's possibly what you've even searched for here on YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube. And so we have to actually start with the term midlife crisis in order for us to be able to make some progress to understand what's going on. But crisis is a very negative word. If you look up the word crisis in any sort of dictionary, you'll find that it says something like that it's a time of disagreement, of confusion and of suffering, a time of intense difficulty or danger, or even catastrophe or calamity, emergency or disaster. That it's a time when difficult or important decisions must be made, a critical point, a decision point, a turning point, a crossroads. So you get the idea that a crisis situation is one in which something or someone is affected by one or more of a very serious problem. When we're talking about midlife crisis, we could probably summarize it then in terms of a midlife crisis is a season of life between 35 and 60 when the person is affected by one or more very serious problems. So how do you know if you're in a crisis, or maybe you're just in a slump, or you've got the blues? What is the difference? Well, crisis is a very emotive word, as we've looked at the definition before. And the reality is it's an arbitrary scale. So you might think you're not in a crisis, but somebody else might say that you are. The point where you reach a crisis is really an arbitrary point on a sliding scale, when the problems have increased to such a degree when you now, or someone else now, begins to call it a crisis. And by implication, important to do something about it now. It's become a high priority. And by implication, serious damage will be done if you don't take action. So if you are to a point where you're calling the issues going on in midlife a crisis, then something needs to be done because damage will result. So, I've got a question for you. If you are in midlife, if 0 is life couldn't be better and 10 is life couldn't be worse, what number would you say makes up a crisis? Do you think that it's a 7 or an 8? Or would it be a 5 or a 9? What number for you would say, right, I've moved past just being in a slump and in the blues to becoming a full-blown crisis? Put that number in the comments below and tell me what number between 0 and 10 would constitute a crisis in your mind. You may think a crisis is at a 7, but you're only at a 5. But you're heading in that direction. Last year you were a 4, the year before that you were a 3. The question is, do you want to keep going in that same direction? Do you want to finally get to a crisis or beyond? Well, the thing is, you don't have to. Even in a situation when you feel like you have no control, you still have choices. So there is an opportunity in midlife, and in particularly in a midlife crisis. There is an opportunity to transform yourself. There's an opportunity to transform your future. And there's even an opportunity to transform the effect that your past is having on you today. Well, how do you do that? How do you do that transformation? Well, step 1 is to acknowledge that you are on a bad course. You may not be at crisis yet, but you're on a course heading in that direction. Time is seldom your friend when it comes to resolving problems. Like a small cancer that you just ignore and hope will resolve itself. It seldom does. Your problems seldom do resolve themselves without you taking action to intervene. So what does this mean? It means that making a decision to stop pushing your problems back under the rug and just hoping things will get better. It's time to take action. Your next task is to discover much more about yourself. How you are now, not what you used to be. You may still have a picture of what you were when you were 30 or when you were 20. But you've changed. You change in midlife, and you've been changing leading into midlife. So what is going on inside you? What has been changing inside you? What has been changing around you? Start looking inside at yourself and understanding what is different about me. Who am I? So that's why I'm producing these videos, to challenge you and to encourage you to stop and think and to work out what is the next step for you to take. So if you've got some value out of this video, then do subscribe. And there are also a lot of resources that are available over on my website at guymullencoaching.com. I specialize in coaching men and women around midlife with their family and their careers. So I've got resources over there that you can download, you can grab for absolutely free. There's links below. So grab over there, go over there and grab those. And don't forget to hit the like button, to subscribe and leave a comment. Tell me what that number is that you believe constitutes a crisis between 0 and 10. I read every comment, and the questions that are put in there, some of them I will address in the comments, and others I will answer on a future video. Thanks for watching. I'm the Midlife Guy. This has been Midlife in a Minute. If you have a question, I'm only a comment away. If you found this video helpful, then hit the like button and share it with your friends. And make sure you subscribe, as I'm putting up new stuff each week to help you make midlife the turning point in a life worth living. Need a personalised guide? Your own coach through life and career is only a few clicks away over at guymullencoaching.com. Thanks for watching. See you soon.